G'day, ajmahari here. Today's topic is the Hoover Hope. If you're not reverse hoovering that X with borderline personality disorder, the Hoover Hope that they will hoover you. And what's that really about? Well, for some people, it's about they're still in a space where they think that maybe this can work out. They would really like to have a do-over. And let me just repeat again that do-overs mean the splitting and the idealization, devaluation, the splitting, the repetition, compulsion, cycle behavior just speeds up with every time a relationship is off. If it's restarted, it just speeds everything up in the cycle until you're spit out again, so to speak. The Hoover Hope. The Hoover Hope for many people who are the ex of someone with BPD now it sort of goes something like this, the narrative of it, right? Well, I just want a chance to tell him or her how much they hurt me, how much damage they did. I want to hold him or her accountable. That's perfectly understandable to feel that way, but it doesn't work that way. And that's one of the problems with the no closure ways in which these relationships often rupture. But even if you get some kind of modicum or more of closure, I have some clients who have had that. A final email back actually, because not everybody with BPD is the same. A final email back where they'll actually answer something. However, they can't tell you what they don't know. Because what's going on with them, a lot of it's subconscious. So they can't explain to you, A, what isn't in their consciousness, what they really don't know or understand. And B, they can't take accountability, unless until a lot of treatment, they can't take accountability, people with BPD, your ex. They do not take personal responsibility. So again, it goes back to that, they have no self-reference. So they have no other reference. And in ruptured relationship, in that final devaluation split, painting you all the black, which is highly, their defenses, etc. They have to do that in order to stave off or escape from or distract and run from what they're starting to get in touch with from that subconscious adverse childhood experience, from what actually created the reason why they have BPD in their lives. So this sort of Hoover Hope, many people are in this area, and even people afterwards, like exes, are trying to heal, trying to move forward. But if you have Hoover Hope left because you want to tell them off, or you want to hold them accountable, you want them to know how much they hurt you. Often what I find with clients, more often than not, is that's probably a human want or desire, right? To stand up for yourself when it's all said and done. Because people make so many compromises for the people with BPD they've been in relationships with. And then later they're like, well, I wish I would have said this. I wish I would have said that. But all of that keeps you focusing back on that person, on the ex, when really the closure and the healing that you need, like I said, family of origin work, inner child work, it's really about what you need to heal inside of you with codependency, or even people that are empaths or too empathic. It really comes back to what you can do so much more for yourself, which is what I help clients to do, than to try to keep externalizing it out, looking for the answers, or wanting to tell the person with BPD how much they hurt you or damaged you. Because often, even if you get a Hoover or you do a reverse Hoover, but this Hoover Hope and the purpose why people want to Hoover or be Hoovered is one that you're you're externalizing what you now need to take care of inside of yourself, both from the relationship and the harm you suffered and the damage done and the lack of closure, but also for most people, maybe not, I can't say all, it's the work of healing that you need to do, codependency recovery, Empaths need their own type of recovery. And so it's really an inside job. And it really is for you to look inward to your pain and how to heal that, both from the relationship and something in your past, which largely do overlap in these circumstances for people. The desire or the want or the feeling hurt, the need, all the different reasons why people have Hoover Hope in one direction or the other. And then people are asking questions online like, I just heard from my ex now after X amount of time, no pun intended. And sometimes it's months or a year later or something. And then like, should I respond to him or her? And I would say silence is golden at that point, but I know that for people that are really still hurt and aren't in that recovery process to where they're actually able to start radically accepting what happened, which doesn't mean it's okay, but to start to turn to your process, focus on yourself, and what more do you need to know about yourself? It's important to, when I say internalize it, I don't mean go it all on your own, but it's important to bring it back to you, not because you're the cause of what the ex with BPD did to you, but to bring it back to you and then to seek help. And like, if I resonate with you, I'm out here to help you, to do your own healing, because every time you focus back on the ex with BPD, you're really getting in your own way, and it's something that is now external to you, though you're hurting internally from what's happened. So this Hoover Hope is a block to moving forward and a block to recovery, as is contact, as is letting them recontact you. I can't tell you the number of people I've worked with over the years that have had an opportunity or made an opportunity, reverse hoovered or been hoovered, and have tried to ask all the questions that so many of you out there right now still want answers to. People with BPD often don't have those answers. At best, you might, and even at best you might get a vague apology, but it won't really be meaningful because they don't exactly know, and many don't understand consciously what they're apologizing for. And then you have to remember, if they hoover you, that's really all about them. They're not coming back to work it out with you. They're not going to take accountability and personal responsibility. If they're hoovering you back and you're wondering whether you should reply back, you know, I've had clients who reply back, no thank you. But then you're still giving the ex with BPD contact. And then they often will jump on that, and then things get more emotionally difficult for people. It's best when you're hoovered to understand it's not going to be the answer you needed. You never got that. They didn't meet you with mutuality or reciprocity in caring or love or attachment. And all of a sudden when they hoover you, or if you reverse hoover and there's contact made, well, people don't realize, they think this is going to be what they need. I need to tell this person how they hurt me. I want to know why this happened. Or I might even want to know how they are today. Or are they getting any help, or will they change? Because then maybe there's that hope, which comes out of so much emotion and grief and pain, that maybe if they are working on something, or if they are in therapy, maybe you could have that do-over. But you know what? Nobody really gets a do-over. I have never in 30 years worth of working with clients in this area seen anybody get recontacted or recontact somebody with BPD later who got treatment and they got back together, and because the damage is done. People need to think about, why are you lacking these boundaries? And I understand the emotions and the pain overwhelming. But why are you lacking boundaries if you're in this place of the Hoover Hope or impulse to reverse Hoover? Why are you not setting up boundaries for yourself? And it's painful for people. And a lot of people with codependency, not all, but they're afraid to be alone. I don't mean you're afraid to be alone in a room all the time, but you're afraid to be out of a relationship. And then the question becomes, Are you more in love with many people love the person with BPD, I understand that, and are crushed when they're discarded and ghosted, relationships rupture. But are you really so much still in love with that person? Or you may be right now in love with the idea of being in love, because it helps codependents and empaths avoid their healing work, which, yes, does mean bringing up some pain, but bringing it up to get through it. So if you're hoovered and you're no contact, and the longer you've been staying no contact, and hopefully you're getting some benefit from that, even though there's still a lot of processing and a lot of work to do to heal, which I'm out here to help people to do, it's really important not to contact back to say no thank you, or I don't want to talk to you, or stop contacting me. Because all of those things that you might say, it breaks the silence, it engages the ex with BPD, and they're not going to take it the way you mean it, because as I think you all know by now, they don't pay attention to boundaries. So if you write back to say, don't write me again, I mean, the subtext of that they're going to hear is kind of like, they'll skip the don't write me back that you said, or don't contact me again, or no thanks, and they'll be like, well, hey, at least he or she answered me, and so, because they don't appreciate, they don't understand boundaries, they don't take accountability. If you're in that Hoover Hope place, and it's going to be interfering with your recovery process, I promise you that, whether you realize it or not yet. If you're in that territory where you might entertain a Hoover, you have Hoover Hope you have hope that they're Hoover, or you're considering, or you have reverse Hoovered, I can just tell you that really nothing that people seek or want from that really can be gained there. And people with BPD are in repetition compulsion cycles, and they're not going to have anything new to say, and they will lie and make a world of promises. And I mean, time and time again, I can't emphasize enough how many clients I've worked with, thousands in 30 years, where this keeps happening. People come back, people take the person back, people haven't healed their own issues, the ex with BPD hasn't healed theirs, and it all starts over again. But remember, check out my video on inside BPD idealization. It's not what you think it really is. And so this Hoover Hope is a block to your moving forward. And I know how compelling it feels for people. It really speaks to how you've been wounded in your childhood to one degree or another, codependency, that you would sacrifice your precious self again and put yourself in harm's way again, thinking that somehow that's going to make it different, or you're going to get something new. Because if you get anything new, it's just going to be false promises if you haven't gone that route. Get some support and help in this healing and recovery journey, because people on the other side of people with BPD, so once you're the ex of someone with BPD, all the damage and all the things that have occurred, and you've overgiven and you've sacrificed yourself too much, you've abandoned yourself, now it's time to get back into knowing yourself. And it comes from a lack of self-worth in people. It comes from often being shamed in childhood, many different adverse childhood experiences. For exes of those with BPD, I want to say really gently to you that, and respectfully, that you're doing something similar, okay, not the same, as people with BPD. You continue to bury or keep suppressed, or you may not be aware, that you're continuing to bury and keep suppressed in your subconscious, where you've been triggered back to your primal core woundedness, which isn't the same as people who have BPD's primal core woundedness, but many people with codependency have a wounded inner child. You're being triggered back to that wounded inner child, and if you keep focusing on the ex with BPD in Hoover Hope, reverse Hoover, or them hoovering, and not maintaining the no contact so that you can keep taking steps forward, cognitive dissonance and all kinds of other aspects of this make those steps forward really difficult to take and hold on to without sliding back a bit anyway. Contact will just pull you right out of any growth and any movement you've had forward for many people and take you back to the pain and agony of square one. And you don't deserve that. And so please be aware of what you're thinking about if you have Hoover Hope, or you're going to reverse Hoover, or you have, why that's important for you going forward to learn more about what you need to know and heal from your childhood that is in your subconscious. Because that's the magnet. It's what's in your subconscious from your childhood. And it doesn't have to be horrible adverse experience. It could just be some unmet needs. It could be a parent that was busy working, trying to take care of you, not a terrible parent necessarily at all. So people with codependency and people who've been, really damaged and wounded by somebody with BPD need to know that you have your own subconscious issues that were the magnet pull to what was going on with that person with BPD. Healing something from your childhood. This is the crisis, right? The pain of the relationship breakup, the rupture, the ghosting, the discarding. But it's also, with great pain comes fantastic growth opportunity. Doesn't feel so fantastic at the time, but people have got to get stronger inside when you might feel like you don't feel very strong inside, you're really hurting. But you need to use your head, not follow your heart. And make decisions based on your head to get yourself getting some help to do this family of origin inner child healing work, which that really changes the landscape of everything you are feeling right now for the ex. It's not so much the other way around. So if you're still having Hoover Hope, it's really important to let go of Hoover Hope. The impulses to work on, get help and support, like I'm out here if I resonate with you, to work through why do you have those impulses. Because what people want to resolve or hold the person with BPD, the ex, accountable for, or tell them how much you were hurt. For so many people, a vast majority of people, codependency, a wounded inner child, that's what you really need to tend to. It's your inner child crying out to you, and you're seeing it as only being about the ex with BPD and how they hurt you, and they hurt you. The deepest part of your hurt, that hurt, but there's a duality to the pain. Having Hoover Hope is detrimental to your healing, and at best, if there is any Hoover or recontact of any kind for any reason whatsoever, you're going to get an immediate fix to what is still that longing, neurophysiological, neurobiological withdrawal, that it actually is that among all the things that it is emotionally. And so would you advise somebody who, got off of cocaine or some other drug to write the drug a letter? I know it sounds silly, doesn't it? Or, to, just visit the drug once more? No, it will lead people tumbling down where they just climbed up out of agony. So having Hoover Hope is detrimental to your moving forward and to the actual recovery that you do need to seek. And the answers and the recovery is not going to come if you're still tied up in wanting them to be accountable or them to understand how they hurt you. Because you need to go into your own self with help to look at what is that. They've hurt you, yes, but what has that triggered you back to? And it triggers you back to your primal inner child core wound, which is not the same as people with BPD. So really important to look at what Hoover Hope is really about, the impulsive nature of wanting to reverse Hoover. It's so important. I can't stress it enough. And I work with so many clients and give strategy and coping mechanisms, and just the contact of having sessions and talking it all out helps people, among other things I work with people to do and to learn and to grow and to heal, helps people to just get out of that impulsive, the neurobiology even of longing, in that sense that there is an addiction created for many people in these relationships. But that addiction, that neurobiological addiction, it's not exactly like a drug addiction or alcohol addiction. It's really that inner child in you having the other half of the magnet to pull to something familiar that might in some way or other represent a parent or something you experienced in childhood, maybe to a lesser degree. And this is all going on in your subconscious. And I just can't say enough how important it is for exes of those with BPD or exes of people with NPD or whatever the case, to stop looking to that person to help you figure it out or to make it better somehow, because that's a recipe for disaster and more pain. You need to take your own journey now, and no contact is the best way to take that journey and maintain that journey, and getting help and doing inner child and family of origin healing work and taking care of that wounded inner child in you is what's going to cluster be proof you over the course of your recovery. I hope that was helpful. Take care.